The future of humanity is intrinsically linked with the future of energy, something that history has clearly proven. Some of the greatest leaps in our development have followed revolutions in energy, be it the taming of fire, harnessing the wind, or the discovery of oil. Each revolution has slowly enabled us to claim mastery over the blue marble that we call home. But as our mastery has become ever more omnipresent, so too has our responsibility to preserve and protect the countless species of animals and plants with which we share the planet. But we have failed in this stewardship. And whilst it is crucial we speak of climate change, the true emergency we have lived with for decades goes far beyond the climate. We are in a sustainability crisis, and its consequences cut into the very fabric of life on our planet. Around 1 million animal and plant species are threatened with extinction at a rate unprecedented in the hundreds of thousands of years that Homo sapiens have existed. Factors such as land use, climate change, and pollution all play a major role in driving what some have come to label the Anthropocene extinction, the human-driven mass extinction. And these same factors also have a detrimental impact on humans around the world, to a large extent driven by a lack of clean energy, causing millions of premature deaths every year, destroying the environment, and robbing people of the chance to live a truly fulfilling life. There is, however, a glimmer of hope. In the middle of the last century, humanity entered an energy revolution that holds the promise of being as groundbreaking as taking fire into our service, and with the ability to combat the sustainability crisis head-on. Nuclear energy is the natural next step of our journey, provided by the stars of old, which eons ago created every ounce of matter which surrounds us, including our own bodies and elements, such as uranium. By utilizing the astounding energy found at the heart of the atom, we can build a cleaner, more equitable, and more ambitious tomorrow without having to sacrifice our planet, our health, or any other living creature with which we share our world. This atomic revolution holds the promise of unshackling the immense potential and talent which is currently held back, while not asking future generations to pay for it. However, over the decades, nuclear energy has acquired a rather tainted reputation, owing to a series of setbacks connected with safety concerns and cost overruns. High-profile accidents like 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl saw many dismissing nuclear energy as a mere oddity, destined to slowly disappear into the history books as a failed experiment. Then, in the early 2000s, a persistent chattering about the forthcoming nuclear renaissance began, with the promise of a wave of new reactors being built across the world, bringing in its wake low carbon, air pollution-free, reliable, abundant, and affordable electricity. Yet just as momentum was ramping up, the dual hit of the financial crash of 2008 and the Fukushima accident of 2011 saw much of the enthusiasm ebb away as the tsunami waves washed over Japan. Once again, many firmly dismissed nuclear energy as a relic of the past. But like Lazarus, nuclear power has returned again, thanks in part to its inherently climate-friendly credentials and to a new wave of innovation. Spearheading this nuclear revolution is a shift towards smaller, less capital-intensive reactors, so-called small modular reactors, or SMRs, which promise a significantly lower upfront construction cost, making nuclear's abundant, clean, and affordable electricity more widely available. SMRs have a unique value proposition as we tackle energy inequality, one of the key drivers behind the sustainability crisis. Today, almost 1 billion people do not have access to electricity, and without it, no access to modern life and the empowerment it provides. An unacceptable situation. Equally disturbing, every day, some 3 billion people, concentrated predominantly in Africa and Asia, are forced to use dirty fuels to cook their food, significantly contributing to more than 7 million air pollution deaths every year. While the wealthiest parts of the world can spend billions on renewables, power sources which only work at certain times of the day or dependent on weather conditions, many parts of the world do not have that luxury. They will need to generate electricity, which often means coal. Electricity from coal is obviously far superior to having none at all and does provide benefits, but it also results in lethal air pollution, environmental degradation, and exacerbating climate changes, which also hit the poorest hardest. Whereas the reactors of today are often simply too large for the electricity grids in these areas, building much smaller reactors, village reactors if you like, provides a viable way forward. Once the global supply chain is established, it is likely that SMRs will be very cost competitive with coal, ensuring that people have access to clean and sustainable electricity. It would also save millions of lives by fighting air pollution and help preserve the local environment. The future of nuclear is not just a question of size. Large reactors like the ones currently in operation will continue to play a major role as the low-carbon backbone in our electricity systems, but also a question of finding new ways of utilizing the atom. Nuclear energy is most associated with electricity production, but throughout its history, a broad range of non-electricity applications have been researched and used. The reactors of tomorrow will be geared towards providing a number of different benefits, such as nuclear waste recycling, district heating to ensure no one has to freeze during the winter, providing fresh drinking water, and hydrogen production for cars. What's more, this new generation of nuclear power is already in the pipeline, building on decades of research and the long-term operation of various research reactors across the world. In 2020, one of the world's first modern SMRs and the first floating nuclear power plant, Rosatom's Academic Lomonosov, was launched, and a raft of different countries and companies are exploring the SMR niche, such as GE Hitachi, a well-known and long-standing player in the nuclear world, and NuScale, a pioneer, which is expected to bring the first Western SMR to the market. Further examples of advanced nuclear energy already providing sustainable electricity and other benefits can be found in the Beloyarsk nuclear power plant in Russia, where 2 reactors are already recycling nuclear waste, and in recent weeks, the American startup Oklo submitted its construction and operating license to the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission for a waste burner reactor. These reactors will recycle the waste from current reactors, reducing the overall amount of waste and its radioactivity, whilst also generating electricity. Other companies are following close behind, with a host of different designs, many with the explicit purpose of recycling used nuclear fuel. Giving in to prejudices and fears around the atom deprives us all of the energy to build a truly sustainable future. Whilst renewables such as wind and solar can play a role in the future energy system, they are simply not capable of fully replacing coal, oil, and gas, nor achieving a socially just decarbonization due to the vast expenditure required to make a high renewables world feasible. By choosing nuclear, we don't have to sacrifice our standard of living, and more importantly, it enables us to help those who still live with little or no access to electricity, people who literally live in the dark. Once we become unshackled from the anti-nuclear dogma, humanity's best days truly lie ahead of us. By entrusting our future to the atom, we can build a cleaner, more equitable, and genuinely sustainable tomorrow, where we can empower humanity and unleash the raw potential currently being held back by our unsustainable way of life.